You're listening to the Dead Padawan Society, a science fiction and fantasy podcast celebrating the ideas, mythologies, and truths in iconic works of sci-fi. I'm your host, Nick Dennis, joined by my friend
Brett Inman. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
It's New Year's Eve if you're listening to this episode when it drops.
So, Happy New Year. We're going to be playing some New Year's Eve games.
I'm really excited. So one of my favorite things to do for New Year's is get together with people and have some kind of New Year's party game event. And so sometimes we've done that with like our church community and we'll get together and do a big game night. Sometimes it's just been with like a smaller group and we'll get together and play apples to apples or different things like that. So for me, New Year's is largely about the party games. For this episode though, we're not just going to play general party games. We're actually focusing on sci-fi themed party games, which this was a fun, in some ways a challenge, because there aren't a lot out there.
No, so we decided to make a couple specifically ourselves for our purposes today.
Well, the thing is, there are so many great, really generic party games that you can just apply the theme of science fiction to.
Right. You could do it for any way, any topic or genre or anything like that. You can make it specifically for that, which I think is fun because when it's confining, then I feel it's a little harder, specifically with ones we're going to play today. But then we're also going to be playing a legit sci-fi party game called Cosmocracy, and we're going to have some others on to join us in playing that game, and we get to talk to their creators a little bit later in the show. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump in. Nick, you have the first party game that we're going to play. So the first couple, these are just icebreaker games, basically. Things that you could play. You can play right now if you are on your way to a New Year's party and you're looking, what do we want to do with our time? These are things you could do with zero preparation.
Oh, really. Absolutely, yeah. These are just a piece of paper and a few ideas, and you can get rolling. So this first one is mental ping pong. You probably have heard of it before or maybe even played it, but one person has to say a word and then the other person has immediately to say another word. You can play mental ping pong in any word, like any word in the language you can say, but we're going to specifically not even just make it for sci-fi, but we have come up with some particular categories in trying to stump the other person. So I have 3 categories, you have 2. We're going to do 5 rounds, and winner best out of 5 wins the whole thing. I'll go more general first and get more specific. So aliens is going to be
aliens. Is the category?
Category is aliens. Say any word related to this category, and I'll buzz you or you buzz me if you think no that's not, or if one of us runs out. How many? What do you say? Like a second? Like it has to be immediate.
Yeah, and there's no if you
any pausing at all.
You're done.
Okay. All right.
Xenomorph.
Symbiote.
Predator.
Egg.
E.T.
Terrestrial.
Spaceship.
Sky.
Planet.
Crash.
You got me. So easy game to pick up, and you can play with a lot of different people, or have your friends play against each other. My category is going to be, let's go with fictional planets.
All right, are you ready?
All
right. Kashyyyk.
Coruscant.
Tatooine.
Jakku.
Naboo.
Oh gosh, I'm terrible at this game. Okay, so if I lose one more, it's over.
Oh yeah. Okay, so this will be easier. We're gonna do Star Wars, just general, all Star Wars. Okay.
Any words in Star? You're gonna beat me at this.
Any words? So. But the thing is that there's just so many. I feel like this can be a good round. We'll see.
Okay. Wookiee.
Lightsaber.
Yoda.
Ship.
Darth Vader.
Luke.
Han.
Chewie.
Leia.
Lando.
Cloud City.
Bespin.
Cloud Car.
Millennium Falcon.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Oh, they are cloud
good.
cars? Okay, I was good.
All right, I'll give you a second and then we start.
Okay, X-Wing.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were starting. Okay. Shoot.
So, X-Wing.
I think I've broken it. You win this one.
All right, well, I've got to get back on the board. So you're currently 2-1. If you win one, you have won best of 5.
Okay.
Let's do Starfleet ships. Starfleet ships.
Oh, crap.
Boom. All right. This is my time. I was made for this moment.
Sweet. Well, I'm taking the easy one. Enterprise.
Enterprise D.
Voyager.
I just blanked. How did I blank?
I can't believe I won that.
Why did I just go with a different Enterprise? I almost said, you said Voyager, and I started thinking about the class that it was, the Intrepid, but I don't know that we've ever seen the Intrepid in the show. Honestly, I nerded out too much for that game. Like, I picked a round that got me thinking down these, like, technical
Great kid,
roads.
don't get cocky.
Congratulations. Well, you won Mental Ping Pong. So the second game that we want to play, B Sci-Fi Movie Titles. In this game, what we do, we generate a random title. I've created a spreadsheet that will generate a random sci-fi movie title. We'll generate one for Nick, and he will have to describe the movie, give us a plot synopsis in, say, 30 seconds, something like that.
Okay.
We won't do a hard time, but keep it short, and then I will do one. And we're actually going to let you, the audience, decide which movie you like the best. So from our
Which
pitches,
one do you want to watch?
So, yeah. So, for instance, just a random one that I just generated is The Search for Jurassic People, The Lost World. That's it's actually funny that a couple of Jurassic references came into that one.
Well, it's funny because The Search for Jurassic People, The Lost World, that sounds like the sequel to the latest Jurassic World movie.
It does, yes.
They're cloning people now.
Yeah, Ape Spider, that's a nice one. Honey, I Shrunk the Untamed Tomatoes and the Mole Men. Who could forget that classic? So, Nick, are you ready for us to generate your sci-fi movie title?
All right, go for it.
All right, your sci-fi B movie title is... And by the way, you can add the, a, or an, or change the tense of a noun if you need to.
If it's not working.
So, your title is Hideous Werewolf.
Hideous Werewolf. Okay. Well, this is a sci-fi spin on the Ugly Duckling story, where a guy is scratched by a werewolf, and he wasn't a good-looking guy to begin with, and so then when he transforms into, and this is a sci-fi comedy. As well. I'll do that up front. So when he transforms into a werewolf and he goes to find, a pack once a month, the rest of the pack doesn't want to have anything to do with him. So Ugly Duckling, we're doing Hideous Werewolf, but he's gonna show his strength that he was actually scratched by a legendary werewolf who then died, and so he was transferred his powers, and so he's particularly strong. And big for a werewolf. And so the rest of them who don't really like him, he doesn't get along with the group. When they're just in human form, they don't invite him out to hang out or anything like that. He's just kind of a loser. But when he transforms, he becomes legendary and helps them defeat a particularly annoying vampire.
All right. Who do you want to cast in this movie?
Oh, Hideous Werewolf. Oh, I just said it was somebody ugly, so if I pick an actor and people are like, oh, he's ugly, I'll do Benedict Cumberbatch because there's people on the fence about him.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Now, are you gonna play Benedict Cumberbatch with an English accent or an American accent? Or are you gonna have him do something different? It'll be
like American Werewolf in London. He'll be in London, but with an American accent.
Nice. I like it. And do you have a tagline for your movie?
Ooh, no.
All right.
I was like, beauty's on the inside of a corpse you're eating? I don't know.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and generate my B-movie title. So we have Nick's Hideous Werewolf starring Benedict Cumberbatch, and it's a play on The Ugly Duckling.
I feel like that's golden right there.
I think it is. So my sci-fi B-movie is titled Beneath the Deadly Visitor. Beneath the Deadly Visitor. So in Beneath the Deadly Visitor...
Sounds like a romance.
I'm tempted to pull that in. I was thinking a completely different direction, but I'm tempted. I'm like, ooh, could I do that? Could I do that? So this opens the way a lot of alien films open. Okay, with ships descend upon Earth. You have all of the usual, government agencies calling each other, and it's a big emergency, and news agencies are reporting on it, and gradually you see them descend into the sky. And so this is very Independence Day. Okay.
So we're beneath the deadly visitor.
But then things change, okay? So the film turns, and instead of being like Roland Emmerich's film where you continue to look all around the world, then we focus in on a very small story, a little bit more like what The Day the Earth Stood Still did. Or
Shaun of the Dead.
You focus in on just a single, and so let's go with American Pastoral. So we're gonna have a small farm, but set in the modern day. So this isn't old timey. This is modern day, small town. You have a guy who is right on the edge of leaving, the rundown town that's closing down. Maybe there's some reference to, the opioid crisis and things like that going on. But then these ships have descended, and this little podunk town is right underneath one of these ships. So they're beneath the deadly visitor.
Oh.
Or are they? As it turns out in the film, they are not the deadly visitors. They land, they're peaceful, but they uncover the truth that the humans have built our civilization on their dead ancestors. We are the deadly visitors who seeded our race to this planet and destroyed their race.
So they were coming back for a reunion and found humans had decimated?
And found that we had decimated their populations. Yeah, this is like a multi-generational ship. And so you've got some of the whole like panspermia concept that, races are spreading throughout the galaxy and finding different planets, and that we're an infant race like that. You can maybe even pull in some of the like Mayan stuff, but ultimately you could do sort of a Twilight Zone-esque twist, and that would really be the big thing that it's all built on. And so you would work up the entire plot of the movie. You would be under the impression that these aliens are the deadly visitors. It's in the title, right? And they're doing things that seem incredibly suspicious, and you're just waiting for that moment when, like in Mars Attacks, they turn, or Independence Day, they fire the lasers, and it
so,
turns out
in the normal, like, we're all waiting for them to do what they've come here to do, but the reason they're stalling and they're hovering above everything is because they're trying to figure out
what happened. Yes. And then
they arrive and it's not what they expected at all.
Yes. And you could, play that off of our main character, who also has these notions of what he's going to find whenever he launches. And perhaps those things are also not going to be what he expected.
Oh, I like that twist.
Yeah.
All right. Hit me with another one.
Dr. Predator 2.
Dr. Predator 2. Okay. So in the original Dr. Predator, Predator had turned over a new leaf, and instead of killing, he took on the Hippocratic Oath and became...
So this is part of the Predator franchise.
Right. Oh, okay, this is a spin-off of normal Predator.
Okay.
And so, because this is it's kind of like Mario and Dr. Mario. Like this
gotcha.
is
same franchise. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So this is Dr. Predator. This is the second one. But so in the first one, Predator decided to stop killing. That he just got done with the hunt. Everyone's easy to kill. And so he decides, you know what, I'm just going to do a 180, and I'm going to swear that I will never hurt a soul anymore.
First, do no harm.
Yes, I'm going to do no harm, and I'm actually going to do my best to save people. So he becomes a doctor and finds love and and saves lives in the first one. Now, in 2... That oath that he took in Dr. Predator 1 is put to the test when another predator comes to Earth who is on the hunt, sees what this predator does and looks at him as like he's easy pickings. And so now Dr. Predator has to weigh the the moral conundrum of should he kill this predator in order to save lives, or does he stick to his oath and he can't kill that predator, and so he's trying to figure another way to get him off planet and get him away from the people that he's come to love.
Yeah, is the film going to be entirely subtitled like the Alien versus Predator films have been? Whenever you have the predators interacting with each other. Like,
yeah, well, no, Dr. Predator has learned to speak English. It's really weird and gargly and kind of muffled, but the new Predator that comes, of course, will be subtitled. He hasn't forgotten Predator language, but yeah.
Dr. Predator 2.
Dr. Predator 2.
Can you spoil what's going to happen at the end? Like, how does he resolve the situation with the other Predator?
He has to sacrifice his own life.
Oh, wow. So no Dr. Predator 3?
No, yeah. Well, there might be a Dr. Predator 3. You never know. Just because your main character dies doesn't mean in sci-fi you can't bring him back for a third.
That's very true. All right. So my second film, The Artificial Giant in New York. The Artificial Giant in New York.
That's such a bland title. That sounds like the Redbox knockoff title of when like a big blockbuster comes out. Like if Iron Giant came out in the Redbox era.
Yes.
And then you see the week it comes out in theaters, you go to Redbox and you see Artificial Giant in New York.
This is the Asylum version of
Right.
Yeah, no. Okay, so what I'm seeing with this, first, there's one essential piece to this puzzle. Woody Allen. Okay, this is written by...
It's in New York.
And starring Woody Allen. Okay? But Woody Allen is not going to play the main character. He's going to play a supporting character who is a failing scientist in the greater New York area working for one of the universities there. And so he is... comedically trying to find some kind of scientific breakthrough. But about every week, he's doing some completely different like type of science. So, 1 week he's working in astrophysics, and 1 week he's working in biochemistry, and he's just bouncing all over the place. And so he's very
gets
scattered.
On the cusp of each one of these.
Exactly.
But then
yeah.
He switches to something else.
And inevitably, somebody will steal his breakthrough. So they'll kind of take the work that he's done and gotten to a certain point, and kind of he's like, I want to move on. And so he moves on to something else, and immediately then somebody latches on to his theory, and they develop it, and they get super famous.
So wait, is he the giant?
No. Like
they're
I said,
standing on the shoulders of.
Oh, that's good. That's
That's underneath the surface.
No, because the artificial giant, like you said, standing on the shoulders of the true giant, is actually one of the interns who's working in his lab. So one of these weeks, he's doing some type of chemistry and creates this serum that he thinks is going to be the solution for world hunger or something like that, and it causes the bread to swell. Well, this temp comes in and is like, that bread looks really good, and so he eats some of it, and he begins to grow larger and larger. And he then, because of his newfound stature and the attention that he's getting from the media, he then is actually able to steal the idea. And so it's all about the war between this guy who really was just an intern and the researcher who actually did it that nobody believes. Yeah. But of course, again, he has no credibility as a genius. And so I feel like okay, here's the thing. I need a young Owen Wilson type for the intern, but I don't know. Owen Wilson's too old for that part now.
Yeah, who's the new Owen Wilson?
Who is the new Owen Wilson? Do we have... or even like a Paul Rudd kind of... But again, like I need that person, but younger.
Yeah. Well,
Dimitri Martin. Can we do Dimitri Martin?
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say Paul Rudd is probably his same age, but he still looks like he's 20.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So you could get away with Paul Rudd.
Yeah. So that is.
I love your double meaning title. That was very nicely done.
Yeah, I totally came up with that on my own too. I didn't base that off. I'm not building on the shoulders of any other giants. So
that's fun.
All right.
So we're gonna make this available for people to download.
This is first off, we're gonna make a poll. So you pick which movie, and I think can we do movie posters? Can we please do movie posters for these?
I'll try to get some up. So
if you want contribution from I'm glad to help with some of the workload there. But yeah,
Woody Allen's giant in New York,
the artificial giant in New York,
Dr. Predator 2. What was the others?
The Hideous Werewolf was your first one
with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah,
and
then my second one was Beneath the Deadly Visitor.
Oh, okay. So who's the guy? Who's the star? In that one
of Beneath the Deadly Visitor.
Yeah, who's the guy in the small town?
You know what? I'm gonna throw in a relatively unknown, but a guy from my hometown.
What?
Okay, in the I Can Only Imagine movie, the guy who played the lead singer of is it Mercy Me? Is that what that movie was about? The band, Christian band. Anyway,
I don't know.
Okay. Kid was a great actor, and it turns out he actually is from my hometown. He had a brother who was my age, like in my grade, but he now has moved on and is he's super talented, and he's got that kind of like small town feel.
Well, it sounds like you're typecasting him there. It's like, oh yeah, he's from my
little podunk hometown that probably has a serious opioid problem, and he's gone to make his way in the big time. Yes, I'm totally typecasting, but. I believe his last name is Finley, if I'm not mistaken. I forget his first name, but he was awesome in that movie. I thought he did a really great job.
All right, if you find him for me, send it. I'll try to make some little posters of these.
Okay. So we'll post a poll, and then also again in the show notes, because we want these to be things that you can do at your New Year's party. If you want to play this game, we will post in the show notes a link where you can go to this sheet. And it will automatically generate those for you. It works on my phone, didn't work on Nick's. If you pull it up in a browser window, should work for you, but it's just a Google sheet that automatically generates the title. Let's generate a couple more just as we close out this segment.
I have to say, I'm very impressed by your Excel skills with this. Mm-hmm. I can do like this cell plus this cell equals this cell. That's about what I've got.
And I'm like referencing other sheets and stuff.
Yeah, I've never got there. So, 50-foot werewolf with the X-ray eyes. Man, that's incredible.
That is a great one.
The title alone is better than anything we just came up with.
That's very true. Dead Alien NATO.
Dead Alien NATO. That is awesome.
Yeah, so my favorite, if you just
you just got Terminator.
I just got Terminator as an option. Yeah, you will find that there are a lot of real pieces in this. My favorite, and one that I was actually kind of hoping we would get in the suffix category of this, it is possible for you to get a Star Wars story. So I was really hoping one of us would get something just ridiculous.
Oh, and then have to send it in the Star Wars universe.
Star Wars story. I also considered putting in like the prefix category Disney's, so that there's a possibility you'll get Disney's something a Star Wars story.
So, well, even if you do Disney, anything else then has to, if it has the Disney brand on it, then has to be like family friendly. Yeah. in what you make up. That'd be good. Awesome. Well, thank you for making that. That was incredible. I enjoyed that. We're actually going to switch gears now and talk about a particular game called Cosmocracy.
Yeah.
This is a game you found online.
Yeah, so in prepping for this episode, I was looking for sci-fi party games. And so what do you do when you're looking for something and you live in the early 21st century?
Let me Google that for you.
Let me Google that. And so I did a search for sci-fi party games. And I was hoping to find some things kind of like what we've done, where some nerd somewhere has come up with a play on a classic game. And that was where I really discovered that the pool is pretty shallow. There's a lot of room for especially light party games to be developed in the sci-fi space. But one that came up really early was this game, Cosmocracy, and was launched on Kickstarter and actually had a really, really successful Kickstarter campaign. And it's It's great. I got it kind of on a whim, and I am incredibly glad that I did.
Yeah, it got picked up by a game developer, and you can, like, even if you didn't contribute to the Kickstarter, that's kind of long done, but it's on Amazon right now, so you can pick it up right now online, even way after the campaign is over. And so that's really nice that it's still available, because sometimes on Kickstarter, it's like, we're only doing this run exclusive, and then you can't get it. You got to get it on eBay secondhand from somebody or something. And for the pool to be so shallow, this sucker's quality is a good game. I have enjoyed getting into it and looking at the gameplay of it. And we're actually going to jump into that gameplay with some friends of ours here in just a minute. But basically, Cosmocracy is, think about it like in Star Wars, in the prequels, when they have the Senate and all the races from all over the galaxy come together arguing about what to do. But all of the topics are ridiculous. And so there's cards that come up with a topic, then you have to choose a race and square off against a representative of another race, and then you make up all these facts in the galaxy. And then you have time to debate it out, and then the other players get to ask you questions and argue through it, and it's fun.
It's an election year for the Galactic Alliance, an unlikely coalition of shockingly bizarre species spanning the Milky Way. Together, these annoyingly opinionated races will elect a new president of the galaxy. But with such a vast empire comes many hot issues, like cutting spending on supernova insurance and legalizing impractically large mech suits. What stances will you take to win the galactic debate?
And now we're actually going to jump in and play a game of Cosmocracy. And because this is a game that's really better with a larger group of people, Nick, we've brought a couple friends in. We've got Daniel Speer. Hey, Daniel.
Hello.
You're not a stranger to our podcast listeners, all three of them. They should already know who you are.
No stranger to debate on the show either.
Oh, that's true. Is that the theme now with Daniel? We just bring him in for debates?
Yeah, whenever we think of arguing, we think of Daniel.
Yeah.
I'm hanging my head in shame right now.
Well, Daniel, you came on the episode where we were talking about Revenge of the Sith. Has your position changed towards the light side in viewing Revenge of the Sith as the best of those films?
Because you ended
middle of the road.
I did.
It left a very sour taste in my mouth.
But it's time to make a choice.
It was pathetic. It was so weak. I think it has changed. I think I've moved where
I need a drum roll.
I think it's the best of them.
No! Take that, Nick.
I need one friend on this.
Well, we actually have one other guest with us here, so maybe he can rock the vote for us. We're joined by Cason Anderson, a friend of ours who is also one of our three listeners. So,
Welcome, Cason.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you here. Do you want to say anything to yourself when you're listening to this episode?
Don't eat the burrito.
Food of choice while podcasting.
I really, really hope that whenever you actually hear this episode in like a month, that you're eating a burrito. I am hoping and praying that that's the case.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
All right, so most important question to ask: Trek or Wars?
It's hard. I like them both, but Trek.
Trek. And where do you fall on Revenge of the Sith as its placement in the prequels, the prequel trilogy?
I have a weird view of the prequels. I think technically Revenge of the Sith is the best, but my preference is Phantom Menace because I was so young when it came out. It was my favorite as a kid. So
I'm there too.
I have nostalgia for Phantom Menace,
That's
but
true.
objectively Revenge of the Sith.
You guys
and that pod
used to
race
pretend
is
to be little Annie.
The pod race is awesome.
It was Wizard, Nick. It was Wizard.
Yippee!
But I think by any objective measure, Revenge of the Sith is clearly the best.
All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the game. Nick, go ahead and tell us a little bit about the gameplay of Cosmocracy.
All right, so here in a second, I'm going to allow all of our players to choose a candidate, and that candidate will be a part of one of the 8 races in the game. And so I'll just run through those races really quick. Or actually, Brett, you have those. Run through who our races are.
So the galaxy is populated by quite an array of characters. We've got the humans, of course. So this game is set in the future when humans have joined the spacefaring races they like. This card actually features in the artwork a couple of things that this race likes. So they like free stuff and entertainment. Seems about right.
Accurate.
We have the shapeshifters, and whoever gets this character actually will get to choose what they like. The shapeshifters are kind of amorphous, and it fits thematically.
You get to mold it to what you want.
We have the Proud Warrior race, and this race obviously loves combat and tradition. We have the Space Whales, who are peace-loving, nature, tree-hugging. I guess I don't know that they could hug a tree with the little arms, but they're the peaceniks of the galaxy. We have the brain-sucking parasites, who love destruction and slander. So that could potentially be a fun character. Or if Daniel gets it, it's going to wreck the game. We might as well stop now. The android race, who love technology and numbers, and the monstrous bug people, who like building and garbage appropriately. So I see them as the blue collar workers of the galaxy. And then finally, the energy beings, who enjoy magic and compliments. And Cason actually asked an important question about that. The magic that they like, is this...
Right, so my question is, does this mean they enjoy cheap magic tricks, or that they actually believe in true, deep magic?
I say if someone gets that candidate, you have
Yeah.
to specify.
One of the things I love about this game is that we will be creating the canon of this galaxy. So those are the races we have to work with, but we will be creating facts that apply to each of these as we go through the game, so that'll be really fun.
Yeah, so here in a second, you guys will get to choose what candidate from which race that you want. That'll be a blind choice. And then each one of us has to make up one additional fact about that race. And then we will get into drawing different candidates to face off against each other. And then we have cards in the middle here that there are some issue cards, and then there are matter cards. And depending on what's flipped, you'll get to see one of the candidates has to be on the pro side of that argument. One has to be on the con. First one drawn gets first choice on that. The other two players who are not in that debate listen and come up with questions for that debate after they're done. Each candidate gets 30 seconds on the clock for their initial debate. Then we'll have just a little bit of time for question answer, and then at the end of each round, each player gets to cast their vote for who won that. And so it might get funny if somebody arguing casts for the other player if they feel like they've been defeated or changed their mind. But yeah, we'll do that. We'll play through a few rounds of that each to make it fair that everyone gets a turn. And then at the end, whoever has the most votes, the highest count, will be elected leader of the whole galaxy.
Yeah, now I think we actually, before making that a final vote, I think we should do a recount with our listeners. So at the end, we'll let them cast their vote as well.
We'll have a winner, and then we'll have the people's choice.
We'll do this democratically, not just autocratically. Yeah,
that sounds good. Awesome.
All right, let's find out what races we're going to be.
So,
Cason, what race do you want to get in this? What are you hoping for?
Man, I don't know.
All right.
Some of these would be hard. We'll just have to see.
All right, Daniel's chosen.
Daniel's going to be?
Daniel's the humans.
Commander Mercury, modeled after Freddie Mercury for the human coalition.
Okay.
All right, Cason, who do you got?
I am the Proud Warrior race, General Mindu.
All right, Brett.
Okay, I am the monstrous bug people. I feel a little offended that monstrous is in my name, but we'll work with that.
What's your candidate's name?
My candidate's name is Queen Cannabula.
All right.
By the way, I love the art on these cards. The design work is fantastic.
They look great. And I am Representative Rula of the Space Whales.
All right.
Nice.
Let's make up one fact about our race, and then we'll get rolling on here. Let me shuffle up our candidates.
Anybody want to have their fact about their race just ready offhand?
I'll go.
Okay.
Space whales are asexual.
Well, there you go.
So we do not reproduce together. We just split into two, like
galactic tapeworms.
Yeah, like single cell organisms.
Okay,
we just
this is an important question.
Split into two.
Do you divide, like, how, if you cut off the tail of a space whale, does it grow a new space whale?
Yeah, that's actually the only way that you can get another space whale. It has to be from the tail. So we cut our tails off. That becomes a whale, and then we get a new tail.
Okay.
A whale of a tail.
Humans have been for the past 100 years in search of the perfect all-you-can-eat buffet. So they've searched the galaxy far and wide and still have yet to agree on a consensus, but they know it's out there. So that's
the El Dorado.
That is
that's
the driving force right now for the human race.
All right, so the Proud Warrior race, clearly we were always at war with each other, but the single focus point of our greatest war and the thing that roots our culture in its identity is a form of candy that is now very rare because we have lost the means to produce it. And so we fight wars over this candy.
The remaining supply.
There's
a dwindling remaining supply
of this candy. And we are also in search of the recipe to make it again. It has been lost.
It's actually where there's original. So the monstrous bug people, who, again, as I mentioned earlier, love building and garbage, before they entered the Galactic Republic, there was a huge trash crisis across multiple worlds. People had just lost a place to dump their garbage. And so fortunately, whenever the monstrous bug people entered the galaxy, we spread out across all of the worlds and began systematically eating and replacing that garbage with new, fertile land that has helped countless races. So
y'all consume trash and
poop and poop
very
land.
Nice land.
Yep.
You consume trash and leave the land fertilized.
Exactly. Yeah.
Goodwill generators.
We prefer fertilized land to other more base terms that could be used for our byproduct.
Your poop planets.
We're actually currently hoping to create an entire world based on this byproduct. So just to expand colonization and allow other races to join us.
You're pretty haughty there. No one wants to go to your poop planets.
I mean, it doesn't smell great, but again, incredibly fertile tracts of land.
All right, so now we need to...
Let's reveal our first candidates.
All right, our first candidates up to debate are going to be Commander Mercury of the humans versus Rula of the space whales, myself. So
I'll go ahead and be the first moderator then.
Okay.
So I'm going to jump on that. I'll be watching the time. Our first issue that'll be debated between the humans and the space whales is increasing the galactic government's budget for, drawing a matter card now, barbaric interspecies sporting events. So increasing the galactic government's budget for barbaric interspecies sporting events.
You're going to be pro or con that?
I'll go con.
Okay. So Daniel, or actually we'll go with the pro side on each issue first. So Nick, go ahead and take a moment. And
okay. So I've got to be pro increasing the budget for more barbaric sporting events, even though my race is a peaceful race.
Well played, Daniel Speer. Well played.
Oh, this is great.
All right, you ready?
Okay. All right, we all know that our race is a peaceful race, but we also acknowledge that some war, I think the warrior race would understand this, is in fighting is necessary to get anger out and for feelings to be resolved. So why not create a sporting event that's regulated and increasing the funds to it in order for this to be done in a structured manner without there just being all-out war? Let's keep the peace in the galaxy and relegate this just to an arena.
All right, excellent job. By the way, to wrap up debate, we will be applauding out the current speaker.
At the end of your 30 seconds.
At the end of your 30 seconds. Claps. So let's go ahead and hear from the con side.
Everyone knows that this would just be a galactic waste of money because violence is just, you can't regulate violence. It's going to happen regardless of whether it happens in a sporting event or outside. So it's kind of garbage. But anyway, I think that money could be a lot better spent on growing new crops in fertilized planets. And then those crops could be used to create, more new buffets.
Excellent job there. So, as moderator, I'm actually going to now lead. Cason and I have an opportunity to have ask some questions. So, Cason, do you have any questions that you want to ask? I'll jump in. I have one for the space whales. what is the likelihood that these barbaric sporting events are going to be generating some trash? Like, will there be concessions and things like that?
Oh, absolutely, and we would hope that our monstrous bug people friends would come along, and we would have an entire world set up for this Coliseum, and so all of that trash could be put into a separate place where our friends could come along and enjoy the eating those as well.
Could we put the arena on a planet, say, made of monstrous bug people byproduct?
Absolutely.
Oh, excellent. I don't have
my
any
question,
questions.
yes, is for the humans. You say this would be a galactic waste of time, but as you know, our entire economy is predicated on participating in these events. This is how the vast majority of our young people form their careers and provide for their families. How do you intend to divert my entire economy if we do not continue building the infrastructure for these games?
I just feel bad for all of the poor robots who are forced to work out in the fields. Even though they aren't made of flesh and blood, they have minds, and to condemn them to sporting events like this, it's terrible. So I mean, you have them out working, you have them doing this and trying to work their way up through the ranks. It's a horrible situation. So I mean, I think that something needs to give, and I think that moving toward more a farming, agrarian type galactic structure would be a good move at this point.
Any further questions?
You, sir, are intent on the destruction of my species. Boo!
I will say, I'm just going to say, it has been proposed, and I believe it will be agreed upon, that the gladiators for this sport will be criminals deserving of capital punishment, or those who would like to enter of their own free will into these games. No one will be forced into these games.
All right, we're going to go ahead and close debate and vote on this issue. So everybody has a voting card. One side says pro, one side says con. So you will go ahead and cover that and then place it down on the table. And I want everybody to reveal their vote. Wow, that was a unanimous. So the Space Whales just picked up 4 votes for that
yes.
one. That was.
I realized that the warfaring people were not robots. That was a huge misstep on the side of the humans. We will find our buffet another way.
All right, awesome. So we know that Cason and I are going to be the other 2 candidates. It looks like
Proud
Cason,
Warrior Race will be
you're going to be choosing
choice.
Your side on the issue. So who wants to be moderator?
I'll go ahead and moderate this one first off. All right, so new issue on the table. Tolerating murder by, and throw in a matter card, space gypsies. All right. So should we tolerate murder by space gypsies? Who's first? Cason.
I will be pro this argument.
Pro?
Okay,
All right.
I'll gladly be con.
Con, all right. Take a couple seconds. We're starting with pro. Mm-hmm. All right.
Clearly, in our current galactic situation, there are a lot of species, especially my human friends, who are not quite fit enough to survive in its current state. And so we are very much in favor of allowing murder by space gypsies, because as the survival of the fittest plays itself out, all races will find themselves stronger, and perhaps even us especially, because we will murder them back. Thank you.
Very nice. Queen Cannibal. Your response.
Okay, while the monstrous bug people do understand that there are some population issues facing the galaxy, and we would actually love to be part of the solution and recycling the corpses from, said purge into new planets, I don't think, and our race would like to represent that space gypsies are not who we need to give this decision to. This needs to be a firmly regulated body making sound decisions for the galaxy, not space gypsies who are likely to take vendettas.
All right. Let me just say, as representative for the Space Whales, we don't condone any form of murder. So I'm having a little bit of trouble here on this topic.
This makes your species weak.
So let me pitch it to Senator General Mindu. So let's just say a run of gypsies come to your planet and start murdering your population in a higher degree than the rest of the galaxy. How in your thinking would that be fair in selection, in the natural selection that you propose here?
If they choose to come to us, to fight us, that is their natural selection, and they have selected their own doom because we will destroy them.
And we should just leave you to your deaths.
Our deaths.
We should not intervene in this at
Our
all.
deaths. They will attempt to murder us, but will fail.
Any response to that, Bug People?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I actually feel like if we were able to amend this piece of legislation to have the Space Gypsies focus their attention on the Proud Warrior race, then I think we could all get behind that, as it would either decrease the population of the Space Gypsies or of the Proud Warrior race, solving some of those issues. But since we cannot amend this bill as it's been presented, I think we have to firmly vote against this, because while they could target the Proud Warrior race, they could also come after one of the other races of the galaxy. And I think you have brought up a very valid point.
You two, sir, are weak.
Humans, any response to this?
Well, I have my own question, I guess. What is the typical entertainment value of a space gypsy? Because I feel like passing this would increase the population, most likely, if they're going to be out murdering people, especially weaker people who are out in the far reaches of space. How would space gypsies then justify their existence? Can they juggle? Can they do petty tricks?
Mind reading, fortune telling. Will they abandon those skills for just murder?
Those are very important skills for us. We value those deeply.
I mean, I think you've brought up a very valid point that space gypsies do serve a much greater purpose in the galaxy than murdering. I think this is a very short-sighted and poorly structured piece of legislation.
But it's important for our health as a galactic body.
All right, I am going to cut off debate there. And would everyone please decide how you would vote for this and reveal? Oh, I got 2 pros and 2 cons.
So a split decision.
Split decision.
All right. We'll go ahead and continue the game. So we're going to shuffle the candidate cards and then play again. So what do you guys think of the game so far?
It's good. I made a big misstep on the first round. I think if I could have a do-over, I mean, we're not going to do that. But if I were to play again, I think I could reconcile that. But anyway, I love it so far. It's good.
Yeah. Cason?
I like it. I like the fact that it forces you to sort of adopt a character instead of just doing what you think would be fun or silly, like having to constrain those decisions.
Yeah,
through.
well, I love how much you're committing to your race too.
I mean, I feel
great,
like if you don't, this game just doesn't work.
Yeah, because we have to be we're peaceful, so I just couldn't get behind that.
Yeah. All right. So this round, we're going to be seeing the monstrous bug people up against the space whales. So the issue facing us: exporting weird spacesuit fashions to other galaxies. I am going to be pro this issue.
All right, good. I'm con.
All right. Well, to begin, I just want to say that I think the humans have contributed significantly to the galaxy in the fashion that you've shared with all of us. I think you have been very future-sighted and have done some amazing things. And so I think it is time for us to take especially your fashion sense, mass produce that and send it to other galaxies. Now, I do think we should inform that with some styles from other races, but I think it's going to be great for the universe.
Stroking an ego over there.
I like where this is headed. Space whales, you're up.
Though we ourselves do not need spacesuits because we just live in space without atmosphere, we enjoy the cultural significance that weird styles and spacesuits add to our galaxy. So why should we be exporting that elsewhere when that would just, that's exporting our culture to another galaxy? Why don't we keep that art, that fashion within us to showcase the, uniqueness of our galaxy?
My question is to the space whales. You say you enjoy our fashion, but want to keep it here. Is that not selfish? Is that not the selfishness of your race manifesting itself in front of us all?
Well, once again, we don't even wear the suits, and I would say it's not that it's selfish. It's that we want to showcase our culture where it's at, rather than trying to force it on another galaxy. And why don't they create their own fashion, their own art, and make them, showcase how they're unique? And we showcase while we're unique.
As the human race, first of all, we're beyond flattered here today. I think it's only fair to put that on the table. I think you have your work cut out for you, space whales, to convince us why, number one, we should not impose our fabulous spacesuit wear across other galaxies.
Capitalists.
Which, might I add, would increase the chances that we could find the holy grail of buffets. Please convince us that we're wrong in thinking that way.
You and the buffets, always with the buffets. I'll just say that I'm not against people taking different fashions and incorporating them, and that spreading through our galaxy is vast. It's wide, and so those fashions can have far reach. But in order to extend beyond our boundaries, our borders, we shouldn't try to assimilate other cultures and have them appropriate what we are like. I say let them be themselves and have their own identity.
In all fairness, represented for the bug people, you have said you are for this because you appreciate the value of the human space designs, but your bodies are incapable of wearing their spacesuits. And we question your motives. Why are you promoting the benefit of the humans at no gain to yourself?
Well, see, I actually see this piece of legislation as being hugely beneficial for the majority of citizens of our galaxy. Specifically, I mean, in your case, this would be conquest of fashion of another galaxy. So I think that's great. And even, textiles produce waste. And so I feel like this helps us out significantly on our goal towards creating a planet made of monstrous bug people byproduct.
Bingo.
Well, I think we're going to have to close discussion down here, even though I do have a little bit of question about all of the pro motive. Maybe there's something insidious behind this decision for the bug people that we don't know about. I'm just going to leave it at that. So let's go ahead and vote. Pro or con?
What? Really?
Yeah, you peacenik, trying to keep our spacesuit fashion for ourselves. 3 pros, 1 con.
Ouch.
All right. So the next round is going to be between the Proud Warrior race and the humans.
Yes.
Cason, as representative of the Proud Warrior race, you're going to be able to choose which side of this issue you want to be on. The issue is deporting space whales out of the human planet.
Who gets first choice on this?
I'm going to be con on this issue.
Definitely pro.
Okay.
That's my...
All right. So, Daniel, you're going to be taking this off. So, you are in favor of deporting space whales out of the human planet.
First of all, they can't wear our spacesuits. This is a big problem. We've known it's been a big problem for a long time. They're taking up a lot of space. We take up a lot of space as it is, and so we need to go ahead and get them. I'm sorry, we like the peaceful nature. Their entertainment value is pretty low, and also they don't want us to try to find our coveted buffet. And so that's all.
That's all.
So, we as a warrior race are very much against deporting the whales from the human space because as weak races who are clearly not fit to have rightful places in this galaxy, they deserve each other. And we don't want to have any more whales coming anywhere near us. Therefore, we would prefer they stay with the humans. Thank you.
Wow.
Am I supposed to clap for these arguments?
I can't clap for that.
I don't know who to choose. You both hate me.
All right.
I mean, I think you made the bed for yourself. I think the last piece of legislation really set you up for.
Everyone feels that strongly about fashion.
Thus begun.
We are a very fashion-forward galaxy. Okay.
This is the debate that breaks the galaxy into pieces.
Thus began the fashion wars of
All right,
2098.
Well, since this is so wrapped up in you, Space Whales, do you have any questions for the two representatives on this issue?
Where do you get off? I guess my a general question is, we we just roam the galaxy. We never stay in any place for a long amount of time. So why this forcefulness of trying to push us off planet? We naturally will head back to space at any given time. So I don't even see the reason for this legislation at all.
I think the any given time is now. As speaking for the humans, they elected me to do my job. Part of my job is to free up some space here, and also I think that it might be a good idea to get two peace-loving peoples or happy people kind of separated. That way, some particular warmongering people can't just sweep in and do a lot of damage.
All right. What is the cost benefit? I want to hear this from both sides. What is the cost and benefit of your side of this issue? And I'll start with the Proud Warrior race.
The cost is nothing. The whales are already there. The benefits are enormous because the whales will stay there. Thank you.
Well, the cost to us is more of it's resources, I think. So it's not so much that by them leaving that it's going to hurt them or it's going to hurt the global economy more. Actually, it's going to kind of stimulate us a lot more to be able to focus on the things that we want to focus on, because it's occupying a lot of our mental space. It's occupying a lot of our physical space. And as much as we love them, I think it's time for them to move on.
So you just mentioned that they're wearing down a lot of your resources. Does that mean they're creating waste?
The whale dumps last year reached epic proportions.
All right, I've made my decision. Do you have any other questions, Space Whales?
No.
Okay.
let's just vote on this thing.
All right. All in favor, all opposed, go ahead and show.
You were against yourself?
No. Oh, sorry. No,
You're pro.
I want them
deported?
to go.
Well, I am a space whale, so we need to get back to space. We got 2 pros and 2 cons.
So we actually are currently at a tie. Nick, you and I, the monstrous bug people and the space whales, are tied for chancellor. Do we want to do just one last round between the two of us to at least decide in this group who should be the chancellor, supreme chancellor of the galaxy?
Sounds good.
So the issue at hand, building a planet-sized statue in honor of malfunctioning teleporters.
I have to support this issue.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you remember at the beginning of the game, we discussed the garbage crisis of 2347. And the main problem was that we had too many malfunctioning teleporters breaking down. And so the monstrous bug people would like to take the mass of teleporters that we've digested and recycled and create a planet-sized statue honoring it out of bug people byproduct.
Humans, the distinguished member of your race, Scotty, what a slap in the face of the incredible work he has been able to accomplish with transporters in order to honor malfunctioning ones? What kind of silly statue is that? How about we honor the man who actually fixed the problem? What about a space-sized statue for him? I just don't understand a glorifying failure.
So yeah, what would be the cost of doing this? I think just the fact that we're building a giant planet-sized statue in general is exorbitantly expensive. In that case, if we're willing to do this, to build this big monument, malfunctioning teleporter seems to me to be just as likely a candidate as anything. But can you justify this on the basis of what it can provide for us as far as, like, is this going to be like an actual malfunctioning teleporter? Wait a second, that doesn't make sense.
A functioning malfunctioning teleporter?
Is this going to be an active malfunctioning teleporter? Because that seems more entertaining to us than having it just be a statue.
Well, I will say I proposed a different statue, but honestly, I'm just con on what's before us today. So if for some reason no statue is built in the future, that's not going to be a problem with me. That's a debate for a later time. Issue on the table currently is the malfunctioning teleporters. Just what a waste. What a waste of money, I would say.
You guys missed a key point of my proposal for this piece of legislation. The monstrous bug people will consume the entire cost of this project. As a race, we are going to take the malfunctioning transporters of the galaxy, of which there still are many, even though we've recycled quite a large number of them. We are going to process them into this new statue. And I see, having visited Earth, I know that you have plenty of monuments yourselves, and one of the things that actually stands out to me about the monuments is that there tend to be a lot of other things around in the periphery. There are things like gift shops and restaurants to support it. I mean, even buffets spring up in the vicinity, which could be really, I think, a great opportunity for your race to get the things that you most want. And again, at no cost to you, we are providing this as a service.
Silence, you have spoken too long. I have a question for the whale. How?
Yes.
How can you question the validity of this? It is deeply embedded in galactic tradition to honor those who fall, regardless of how they fall. Our species... This is enormous.
I will just say, transporters, effective ones, have benefited the galaxy for all species.
So have the ineffective ones because they have removed the weak.
Yes, but do we honor the failures, or do we choose to address the exact same history, but then honor someone like Mr. Scott, who fixed the problem? Same history can be addressed, and the same chances for buffets to spring up around can be there. Why can't the monstrous bug people create a statue about victory instead of failure?
I'm going to be honest with you. The monstrous bug people, largely, this is a monument to our work in saving the galaxy in the past. So while the malfunctioning transporters themselves may seem like
your work
failure, when we entered the galaxy and we started our work recycling your garbage, among which were malfunctioning transporters, I didn't see any of you complaining and calling us failures. You saw us as successes.
Wow.
And so our war on garbage in this galaxy deserves a little bit of attention, and we are willing to put all the effort into making this happen if you approve it.
Wow, Queen, you make the warrior race look humble with your boasting.
My one question. Will this teleporter be active? And if it is active, would it not kill people if they went into it? And if people went into it, would they be teleported to wacky places?
Ooh.
Because that would be entertaining.
I would actually, if this passes, I would like to bring the human race on board to actually help us design it. So I think that kind of input is what we need to make this truly an exceptional monument.
Silence.
You know what I've
Silence.
You know what I've heard
Silence,
today?
silence. Peace-loving beatnik. We must now vote.
Are you kidding me? 3 pros, and I'm the only con. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm building a monument, and I'm making the monstrous bug people pay for it. So
You make a lot of promises. That's what I wanted to say at the end. Through all these debates, the bug people make a ton of promises, and their promises are always tied to their industry.
Greasing those palms, patting those backs, that's how politics are played, and that's how you become chancellor.
And now the bug people can proceed with their insidious plans.
Yeah, we actually are...
At which point, we will murder them all. Like, we're not worried about the bug people.
We just want to eat your trash, man. Just...
I feel like y'all's, like, your three races, like, match very well. Like, from the get. Like, I am the odd man out, being, like, peaceful, where you got humans, warriors, and monstrous bugs. It's like...
Peace-loving nature
freaking...
and nude across the galaxy.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and put up a poll, though. So we do, we're a democratic cosmocracy, if nothing else. So go ahead and vote on who you think should have been the Chancellor of the Galaxy. Obviously, the monstrous bug people. By the way, listeners,
Clearly.
The monstrous bug people.
Down with big business. Down with war. Vote for peace.
So what did you guys think overall of the gameplay?
I like it, and I could see myself kind of getting, once I get into the groove of this and kind of get a feel for it, I think it would only be more fun. And this is definitely a game you want to play with the right people who are imaginative and who have the capability to keep up with the world as it progresses. But yeah, it's a good game. I like it.
Oh yeah, I love it. Because even from my perspective, like I just copy pasted Klingon right straight into this role. But you can play the same warrior race card in an entirely different way, like a much more, you know what I'm saying? So even within that context, the creativity to move within that, while still giving enough set lanes, like, because you need some structure to your creativity or things to get bonkers. And so I think it does a great job of balancing an openness for creativity and role playing while also giving enough grooves so that things just don't go totally bonkers and you can't get anywhere.
Yeah, there's something in this, like the weight of the history canon that you have to put in this. I realized that we never touched on your warring candy factions.
I threw that in there to be fun, but it just didn't.
That was a
The
mess.
way the cards fell, it never came up.
Well, see, and for me,
Yeah.
like I actually at the beginning of the game, I made a mental note because candy always comes in a wrapper. Which I was like, oh yeah, I can play off that. I can.
I kept trying to find a spot to insert that, but it's never seemed to naturally come up in the game.
It's good.
Well, I like that even in this, even if you miserably fail at your argument or something like that because other people are listening and taking note, and you can riff off even that and even turn that around. Yeah, this is fun.
Cool. Well, it's been great to have you with us, Daniel. Thanks for joining us again. Cason, thanks for coming on the show. By the way, Cason is actually going to be working with us again in just a few short weeks because Cason is going to be, when we do our Star Trek fantasy draft.
Oh, yeah.
Cason is actually going to be generating the scores for our teams. So really
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, excited to have you do that. You were actually part of our first test for it. So
I was. It was an interesting experience.
So
If I lose that episode, though, you're not coming back.
First Revenge of the Sith, and now this.
This is a ton of fun. I'm excited to get into the next part where we actually get to talk to these creators.
absolutely. So Nick and I had an opportunity to interview the creators of Cosmocracy with Road to Infamy Games. We're going to jump into that interview right now. All right, we're here with Andrew and Jeff of Road to Infamy Games. Guys, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we really enjoyed playing Cosmocracy. We played it a few times ourselves, and so it was a blast to play.
Yeah, we did a couple like dummy rounds just to get a feel for it like a week or so ago, and then we played a full game.
What's kind of your backstory? How did you guys get started in game design?
Game design started with our Hunger Games RPG we were telling you guys about a little bit earlier, and we used to run a basically online D&D campaign that was themed around the Hunger Games because that was cool at the time. And
Still cool.
yeah. And people really liked it, so we kept kind of reiterating the game over a number of years and continuing the campaign on. And eventually people were kind of asking us, like, why isn't this like a board game? Like, make it a reproducible experience. And so that was kind of our first foray into tabletop game design.
Cool. Well, really want to start this off with an important question for you guys. Trek or Wars?
Star Wars.
Yeah, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Now, Andrew,
So-
you look like you're a
movies are
little on the
bad.
fence. Do you at least like Trek?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course. No,
yeah.
I think we both love Trek, and Jeff had like a Trek household.
Yeah, my
So
parents are
I'm
both
actually
Trekkies.
surprised to hear that you said Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. Like, it goes through so many eras, you know, and I think for me, it goes, depending on what era we're talking about of the films, there are superior sections of each legacy, you know?
Absolutely.
And watching all of like Next Generation and just like loving all of it, but it's like a completely different sci-fi experience.
Yeah.
So they're both
Yeah, I was like, y'all are 90s guys, I'm sure. So TNG was y'all's Trek, like ours as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't gone back and watched. I'll go back and watch TNG, but not as much the original series. But Brett here has watched.
I love campy 60s sci-fi. You can't beat it. Are there other works of sci-fi that you guys like, or are there ones that you gravitate to?
My favorite book is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, nice. I have still yet to read that. Have you read that?
I have, but it has been a long time.
Okay. I've only seen the film on that, which I have heard is garbage compared to the book. What do you think of that?
I rewatched it recently, and I think I had the same opinion as when I first saw it. I was like, it scratches the itch. You know, it has that like fun British satire feel to it, but it'll
Right.
never, you know, totally satisfy you in the way that like Douglas Adams like ridiculous narratives do.
Yeah. Have you heard the radio drama or the original, like the BBC?
Oh
show?
yeah. That's actually really good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I might
that
check
would
out.
be the way I would see it. Is the miniseries on the BBC was great.
So is that adaptable to a film, you think, or is it impossible because of like his narrative style?
I think it could be done, honestly. Like the BBC version encapsulated it pretty well. It's a little like low budget and drawn out, but I think there's like a way to like find a medium between like the American fast-paced version and like actually encapsulates the story better.
Yeah. Andrew, are there any works of sci-fi that you especially like? Or you're like, I hate sci-fi. I don't even know why I'm doing it.
There's definitely a part of my life where I just read a bunch of sci-fi. So, like one of my favorite sci-fi books is The Forever War, if you've ever read that. And then also we have not to jump ahead, but the game we're working on now definitely has a premise that comes from like the Foundation series, which is another like very popular sci-fi series.
Asimov, yeah.
Yeah,
he's a big Asimov guy.
Asimov's awesome. So, yeah, thinking today, I was like, I need to read more books.
Right?
Those were the best books.
Well, before we get rolling any further, we want to play a game with you guys as a bit of testing your sci-fi knowledge and to kind of break into. I mean, this is going to be film focused, but what I have in front of me is a bowl of famous sci-fi quotes. Okay, we're gonna get in teams. So Jeff, you and I together, and Andrew with you and Brett. And I'm gonna pull from the bowl, and I'm gonna read the first part of a quote, and see if you guys can finish that quote. And so we'll do 30 seconds.
30 seconds
on the clock. However many we can get will be your score. And
Okay, well, I'm sorry, Nick and Jeff. You have already lost.
why is that?
Because we're going to destroy you.
Okay. Is there skipping in this? Can we skip?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, we can skip.
and you
Okay.
get slapped.
And you get slapped across the face.
Everyone you skip, yeah, I love it. I love it. This is good.
That's true Hitchhiker's Guide right there.
Yeah.
That's Hitchhiker rules. All right, so I'm going to pull from the bowl. 30 seconds.
All right,
On the
30
clock,
seconds.
tell me when to go.
Go.
I volunteer.
As tribute.
Yes.
If I didn't get that one.
Oh, life.
What's that?
Life.
Life?
Uh.
I don't know.
Oh,
know.
skip. I am one with the Force.
And the Force is with me.
Ooh, very nice.
All right. Come with me.
To another place we can rely on each other. Huh?
All right. Oh, I am.
Last one.
Groot.
Yes.
All right, that's it.
Oh,
Time's up. It's all right.
All right. Y'all's turn. 30 seconds.
All right, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I got to broaden my thoughts on all these.
Okay. Anything in the realm of sci-fi.
Well, it's funny because I'm pretty sure those are the deep cuts in this bowl. That's what we started with. All right, you ready?
Okay. All right,
Go.
Andrew. Do or do not.
There is no try.
Boom! There is no.
There is no.
There is no.
Hey, no, you can't be using.
Depends if I missed it.
Skip.
Oh, it's spoon.
No!
Oh, that
Do we get
counts.
that counts. Okay. Dead or alive. I'm gonna skip. I don't know that one.
Done.
Ah!
Yes, you got 2, and you lost.
By the way, you can lord up your victory over Andrew forever. I think.
Absolutely.
I think this is a monumental feat for you. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Cosmocracy. Where'd the idea for this game come from?
Yeah, we were visiting a friend in Florida playing some games, and he had made a like a political trivia game basically, and we're like, it was really Jeff's idea. He thought like, how would you make a really fun game around politics that like didn't make everyone mad? So that was the general thought, and that's kind of how Cosmocracy was born.
So it started not as like we want to make a sci-fi game, but y'all are playing a political game, and then thought this isn't as fun as it could be.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you make it fun?
Yeah. Well, we both agree that this is a great genre to place like the idea for this game in, because like through the gameplay, there's just so many ridiculous topics and issues that come up that just wouldn't in normal like
totally.
arguing and politics and stuff like that.
There definitely is so much that sci-fi offers. What do you like about sci-fi as a setting or theme for tabletop and board games?
It really just opens up the possibilities to literally anything. When you say like, we're not going to operate outside of like the normal modern realistic physics rules, now like anything is on the table, which I think is perfect for a game like Cosmocracy, where the players are literally inventing a world of their own, and you don't have to feel confined by any sort of rules of physics or reality.
Absolutely.
I feel like the best part of sci-fi is you can come up with as wacky of a universe as you want.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to go back to science and physics, and people are always trying to explain, how do you do a Kessel Run? What is that, or zebra work? I think that's what fun. It's like the puzzle of trying to make it as real as possible. Mm-hmm. That's what's cool about sci-fi.
Absolutely. My favorite part, I think, of the gameplay is at the beginning you get to add one additional fact to your race, which we came up with all kinds of wacky stuff. In one of our gameplays, I was the shapeshifters, and on the art of the card, I noticed that one of them had goat legs, and so I think mine was my additional fact was that even though we're shapeshifters, we are incredibly dull and unimaginative, and so a lot of times we just end up as goats. So what about y'all?
Yeah.
What's your favorite like aspect of the game that you enjoy?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I love coming up with the facts ahead of time. Obviously, we've played the game so many times, and I always like to try and make my fact make the game harder for me to win. I think I was the monstrous bug people, and I said our race was incapable of pronouncing the letter M for the rest of the game without saying any M.
That's awesome.
That is great.
There was you were the humans one time,
Yeah.
and you said that humans harnessed never-ending power through.
That we harness the power of love.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
how
was-
they powered their
Yeah.
spaceships.
So yeah.
Was through love.
Yeah.
Andrew, how about you?
Yeah, for me, it's kind of like what you guys have kind of like shown through your example, which is that regardless of winning or losing, like you're getting lost in your own lore about your own universe, and so at the end, you're just kind of you all created this one universe, and you get to go back and share that whenever you want. I think that's what's so awesome about it. It's beyond winning and losing. You created something.
Yeah. What have you guys? I'm sure you've heard from customers and people who've played the games. Like, what's their take? Do they come at it? Is there anyone who comes at it like trying to be like super like scientific about it, or most people like anything goes?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely played with people who just like play the game very straight. They're like actually trying to win a debate, and I think that tends to not get votes as often as someone who just like comes up with something ridiculous or something funny or just attacks their opponent. Like, they were sleeping with the wives of all the voters and stuff like that. Like, usually those tend to win votes more often. So it's kind of interesting, but you can totally play from both angles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People seem to be, they want the entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way.
One of the things that I really liked as I was going through, and I found it really interesting, Jeff, that you said you're a fan of Hitchhiker's Guide, because there was a card in there that whenever we were playing our dummy run, it was a Hitchhiker's Guide reference. I think the infinite improbability drive is in there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so I loved, as a fan of sci-fi, I loved some of the deeper cuts that you guys put in there, and there were some references to other works, Star Trek, Star Wars. I feel like there were a few Back to the Future. Hoverboards are present, which was great. What were some of the elements of sci-fi that you loved that you were excited to work into this game?
Well, yeah, I think you mentioned the infinite improbability drive. That's something that like not everyone catches on to. Like, a lot of people are familiar with, Hitchhiker's Guide, but unless you've like actually, read the book or seen the movie, like you can kind of catch on. So there's the fun little like references in there, or like there's one that's like inappropriate, like holodeck simulations or something. It's like this Jabba the Hutt that's looking like all like beat up.
Yeah, I do like that too, because there are like hoverboards. Like, everyone knows about hoverboards, and so there's surface stuff, and I think the battle station like looked like the Death Star, and so there's great callbacks to things that everybody knows, but then there's also the deep cuts that the uber nerds will like just geek out over and absolutely love.
Last thing I want to talk about, I've followed you guys on Facebook and have watched some of what you do. By the way, you're on Facebook at Road to Infamy Games. Is that,
yeah, that's
that right? Okay. So if somebody wants to check you out, I have seen some of the posts you guys have been making lately, and it looks like your next game is going to be sci-fi themed. So I feel like our audience would love to hear about it. The big thing that I've seen so far is the card art looks great. So it has almost a Star Fox quality to it, where
that was like a big point of inspiration. And actually, in like our very original prototypes, we had just like grabbed some images of Star Fox characters, and we were just kind of messing with that until we got the original art for it. But yeah, so the working title for it right now is Fade. Again, that might change tomorrow. It's been kind of this carousel of name changes. But the idea of the game is the sun in the center of your solar system is fading. And so you need to find an alternate energy source before the solar system goes dark. So you're mining these energy crystals to power up your ships so that you can leave for a new solar system. But kind of the interesting mechanics of the game is you're hiring a faction of mercenaries, and you have to assign them to 1, 2, or 3 year contracts, meaning like that's how many rounds you get to have that mercenary, 1, 2, or 3 turns.
Oh, okay.
But even if you hire a mercenary after so many turns, the mercenary is going to then join some other faction and sign with them instead.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So this isn't cooperative. This is like everyone is trying to get out, and so they're trying to pull from the same resources in order to do so.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're kind of competing over planets that have various colors of energy crystals that you can use and refine those into energy.
Awesome.
It's a very complex solar system you're working in. Everyone's fighting.
That seems like a great jump off point from Cosmocracy, whereas this is like debating issues that may or may not happen, whereas this one seems like the galaxy's in crisis. Now what are all of these people gonna do? Like throw that universe into crisis, and now what are these crazy factions gonna do to each other, and how are they gonna get out?
Oh,
Right. I feel like we should tie in.
Can you do a legacy
stories
version where you merge the two together? And
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is definitely a sequel when you really think.
And when are you planning to like launch? Are you going to do this one through Kickstarter again? I noticed you guys have had a lot of success on Kickstarter.
We're hoping to have it within the first quarter of next year. We want to make sure everything's right, but March, February, hopefully.
Okay.
We'll have the game out on Kickstarter.
Okay,
Excellent.
awesome. So everything right now is just getting people like posting and getting people interested in them staying on track with y'all, so that when you post it, people can immediately jump on and get their copy.
Yeah, exactly. And we're trying to post like kind of some work in progress art and like some A/B options and get some testing just from other people's perspectives, because something looks good to us doesn't mean like it's actually functional and readable to other players. So it's really nice to have that kind of feedback from our backers from previous campaigns.
If people are interested in you, want to find out more about the games that you've made or the work that you're going to be doing on your new game, how can they find out?
We're definitely looking for feedback on our new game. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can follow us, Road to Infamy Games on Facebook. We're also on Instagram, R2I Games, and be sure to check out our game Crypt, which is in fulfillment right now, which is super exciting. So we're really looking forward to hearing what people think about that as well.
So Crypt, is it available on like Amazon or somewhere else where you can get it?
Yeah, exactly. The Kickstarter was in April, and the pre-orders have now closed because like kind of mid-fulfillment at the moment. But it should be hitting retail probably next month.
Yeah,
right?
So January 25th is the street date.
Oh,
So
sweet.
find it in your local game shop, and if not, then just check on Amazon.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to checking that one out too.
Awesome. Guys, thanks so much for being on the Dead Padawan Society. It's been a blast to have you. So
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
We want to give another big thank you to Jeff and Andrew from Road to Infamy Games for talking with us about Cosmocracy and the other games that they have in development or will be coming out soon. It was really cool.
they're awesome guys. We discussed some stuff off air, and they're from Chicago. So this year we're going to Star Wars Celebration, which is going to be in Chicago. So we're going to have to meet up with them and maybe even bring them on another episode of the show.
And we're going to bring this game because we're going to be in a nerd mecca. I'm sure even if we don't get to play with them, we'll definitely be able to find some other people there that will
Star
love
Wars
this
fan
game.
has not wanted to be part of the Galactic Senate?
Absolutely. So that's easy pickings right there. We can get a group together for that.
It was great to have him on the show, but we actually want to go ahead and turn to the last segment now. Nick, you've never seen Alien, and our next episode is going to be focused on Alien. So for this episode, one last game that we wanted to play was with you, where we would have you watch a portion of the film and then give us your synopsis. So let's go ahead and jump into that.
This may be a train wreck, but here we go. The beginning of Alien is so... it's not slow, but it is...
No, it's slow.
It's very visual.
It's visual, and it's very tonal. Like it's establishing
visual
a
and
tone
tonal, but
for the
not
film.
as much like dialogue and meat and plot happening.
Yeah. Based on your watching 13 minutes of Alien, tell me the rest of the movie.
Okay. It is set up in the beginning that the Brett and Parker characters are kind of like the grunt workers, and at one point they go into a part of the ship which I assume is like where like a lot of the ore and the hull is, and where like the hard work is. And they specifically say that the rest of the crew doesn't go down there very often, which immediately to me sets up the idea of there are spaces on this ship that most of these people don't know very well and don't go to. And so I think the majority of the crew doesn't wander into those cargo inner belly areas of the ship. And so there's a small alien stowaway on the ship in the cargo areas that they didn't realize was there when they went into hibernation. So that small alien is what we see scurrying across the screen at the beginning.
Okay, so already on the ship at the very beginning.
Yeah, I think there's already an alien. It was in the cargo, like in the ore somewhere, and they didn't realize it when they put their hull onto the ship.
Okay.
So it activates the computer in order for it to search for the signal to reroute the ship. It's like turning the ship's ear a certain way so it can grab onto this distress signal, so it will push the ship toward where it wants to go. Because the aliens are hive-minded, it's connected to the place that they're going to end up. So you've got this little alien that's screwing them over, basically. So reroutes the ship, and then there are alien eggs lying in wait for their prey to be delivered to them on the other end of that signal. Okay? So the Nostromo is taken to another ghost ship. All right? So the signal's coming from a ghost ship out in space. This is happens in sci-fi a lot, so I figured it was a safe bet to go.
Okay.
So there's a ghost ship that this signal is coming from.
Now, the part of it that you saw there, so they're going towards the planet, so it's like in orbit?
Yeah, I would say it's like hanging out in orbit somewhere.
Okay.
So they get to the ghost ship where the crew boards and searches for survivors like it normally happens in sci-fi. They happen among eggs that are spread throughout the ship, but there's no humans. I'll say that this is a human ship, that this has obviously come from Earth, but there's no they can't find any humans around. Ghost ship, they're looking through logs, trying to figure out, normal sci-fi stuff. So they happen among the eggs, and they're, eggs open up and they're attacked. John Hurt is unknowingly infected with an alien larva at this time. I do know that he gets infected from pop culture because he gets a chest burster. I know that for a fact. So he gets infected,
but he's not aware.
Well, he's not aware that what has happened. He's not feeling great. They're like, go back to the ship, get checked on in the medical bay, and the rest of them continue to investigate the mystery of the ghost ship until they realize that crew members are starting to get picked off one by one.
Now, wait, aboard the ghost ship or aboard their ship?
Both. Let's say their ship. There's some that have been left behind, and they're not like the people on that didn't go over, like, I can't find them, and they're trying to call them, signal to them, they can't find them. So weird stuff's starting to happen. So they get spooked and they undock from the ghost ship, but the damage has already been done. They're in for it. So another alien has boarded their ship along with the first one in there. Let's see, and then there's one growing in Hurt as well. And so they decide that that's enough. There's no survivors. We want to get away from this, and we just want to go home because they've investigated. They're not finding anybody. They're getting spooked. They're like, let's just get back to Earth. We've done our due diligence here. So they want to escape their region of space, but the distress signal that has Mother locked onto this thing hasn't stopped. And so Mother will not allow them to leave because the signal is still happening. So they decide that they have to destroy this ghost ship's signal in order for Mother to allow them to go back to Earth. So Bilbo, whoever he is, decides that he will return to the ghost ship alone via airlocks and a spacesuit because they don't want to dock again with the thing. And so he goes over in order to kill the signal. So the rest of the film is the crew members. They then realize that something has come onto the ship because more crew members are going missing. They're getting picked off. And then Hurt, has his chest burster, and so they realize, holy crap, we're under attack. And so the rest of the movie is crew members hiding from the aliens or trying to attack and kill the aliens, and it just tension gets ratcheted up, and you don't know. And Bilbo's on the other ship trying to kill the signal, but he's being hunted over there as well. And so finally he's able to stop the signal broadcast right before he's killed, allowing Mother to correct course to head back to Earth. But so much time has passed that all the crew members are now dead except for Ripley, who kills the last alien and dumps the cargo that they're hauling and just bolts for home in just the spacecraft. So ditches the hull. Maybe there's aliens still on that, and she gets going and gets for home, and she's the only survivor of it. So
Ripley's the only survivor. Okay.
Yeah.
So you said that the crew are getting picked off by the different aliens. How many aliens did there end up being? Because you said there's the small one that's already on there. Does he stay?
Yeah. There's the stowaway. Another one comes on to the ship to where they're like tag teaming, and then you've got the chest burster little one, but that's like a baby, and so that's not doing. I mean, that I'm just gonna say that one just kills Hurt. Okay. And then it like slithers over to one of the bigger ones and like hangs out on their shoulder.
Oh, okay. like a baby possum or something.
Right. It's like mama, and so yeah.
Okay, and then what about because you said the ghost ship also has they're hunting Bilbo.
Yeah, and there's one other that's still on the ship. It stayed on there when they first undocked. And so when Bilbo gets over there, there's still one active one over there.
Okay.
And so let's say that they're killing the crew members and incubating in their chests in the cargo area, and so that's why Ripley has to detach from the cargo part of the ore part of the ship, because like they're making babies up there right now.
Gotcha.
And it's just going to get worse and worse. And so, and she does like a square off against one and kills one, because I'm pretty sure she's an action star in this movie.
Sure. So
maybe.
So she's the only survivor. So what order do the other characters die in?
So obviously Brett and Parker are biting it first, because they're the guys who have to go into the areas that none of the other ones, and so they're the ones who drop off first. And usually it's usually the loudmouth people who go first anyway. And so they're the kind of the troublemakers, and Parker's black, and so this was done in the 70s, and so it wouldn't surprise me if they killed off the black guy like they usually do in that era. So I was like, yeah, horror movie, there's one black guy on this ship, he's biting it. Like,
so is he first?
It does, sure. We'll say him or Harry Dean Stanton is one of them are going first, and the other one's not too far behind. Okay. One of them gets wise to the other dying and tries to get out, but he gets gotten before he can warn the rest of the crew.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say the blonde lady is the next to disappear, because I don't know anything about her. So I'll just say that. Captain, obviously, it's gonna come down. I mean, John Hurt gets the chest burster, so he's done for. It's going to end up being your captain, obviously, because he's the captain, and Ripley and Bilbo. Bilbo, of course,
on the other ship.
Goes to the other ship. Captain, of course, is all about, he's got to
go down with his
ship.
He's
got to go down with the ship, and so he's fighting to save Ripley, and Ripley.
So he and Ripley are working.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. I think it's. I don't know if there'll be like a romantic thing between them two, but it's obviously set up like this is a good captain at the beginning. He's got a good head on him. Yeah. So he's gonna last for a while, and then it's gonna end up just Ripley gets away.
Gotcha. So there is one other like on the ship.
Is it the cat?
Okay, so you're familiar with the cat?
Well, see, I saw the cat there, which made me second guess that there was an alien already on board, because when the camera pans over and the box shakes, I was like, could that just be a cat? Like, everyone else is asleep. I was like, is that just the cat hanging out in a box? But then I thought, are these people that terrible that they went to sleep and they just put the cat in a box?
Well, cats have a limited lifespan. That would be kind of cruel.
Maybe the cat is actually the first to bite it.
So the cat is the first to bite it, and in interacting
it's a little
with
snack. The cat is a little snack for the alien, and so it goes off somewhere. Let's say it goes off somewhere, and someone's like, "Hey, where's the cat? Can you go find him?"
So that's the first thing to wind up missing.
Yeah, Brett and Parker go into the areas no one else wants to go to, and they're like, "Hey, kitty cat, kitty," and then one of them bites it. That's how that goes.
Yeah, and
I'm completely wrong on this. I know.
There's one other thing that I didn't hear you mention, the surprise betrayal in the film. Tell me about that.
Are you screwing with me? Like, are you just throwing fake stuff in, or are you actually saying something happened?
I'm wanting you to tell me the story, so I feel like that's an important part of the story. So how does that work itself in?
Surprise betrayal. Let's say, again, because these are the two characters that had the most play, let's go back to Brett and Parker.
Okay.
Because they're greedy. They're both greedy for money. So maybe that alien stowaway, one of them actually knew about, and they caught it on whatever planet they were on, thinking that when they get it back to Earth, it's like he found alien life. I don't know is alien life a thing in this universe, or is this a new? Maybe this is like the first extraterrestrial contact, and so he caught a little one, and he thought that he could, when he got back, he could sell it or become big, famous for finding alien life, and he doesn't tell anyone else about it because he wants to keep it for himself. I don't know if that's going to be Brett or Parker, one of them, but let's say the betrayal is that,
So he was the one who started the whole chain of events.
Yeah, it's his fault for bringing it on board, and let's say that, like, because they're good friends, obviously one of them bites it first, and maybe he knows exactly what it is, but he doesn't run and tell the rest of the crew what it is because he doesn't want to know that he's at fault for this. He's trying to contain it and not let anyone know that it's happening.
Nick, in the words...
I'm still thinking you're messing with me.
In the words of Luke Skywalker, amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong.
All right,
I have been stifling back laughter this entire time, and I hope audience members, because there were even a few times where, like, asking a couple questions about things that you will be. I am eager to hear what you think of the actual film.
Okay.
Because while you've come up with something very interesting, it's a little different than what you're going to be experiencing in Alien. Good try, though. Good try, champ. That was...
Well, I'm going to watch it this week. Maybe you can watch it with me, and we can laugh about it. But, yeah, I was based off the first 12 minutes, that's all I got. So, sorry for it being incredibly wrong.
It was wonderful. That's the best it could be. Like, it was so perfect. I was like, at every point, I'm like, well, now he's getting close. He's getting... Oh, nope. Complete left turn.
Yeah. Well, it's like, bring it back to The Last Jedi. Every time you think it's going right, it's going to go left.
Yep. Yeah. This film just Rian Johnson'd you. So,
well, actually, I'm glad that if that's true, I'm glad that I don't know what's coming, because then the surprises won't be like, oh yeah, when they're gonna do this and he's gonna do that, and this is what it's gonna end up being. So I'm actually happy to hear that.
Yeah, it's gonna I think based on everything you just said, it's going to be a fun watch for you.
Okay, good.
I predict. So
this is why you watch movies in their entirety and not the first 12 minutes. So any person who's just flipping through and watches the first 10 minutes of Alien and think you got it, you don't got it.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of fun today. I've really enjoyed this episode. Happy New Year, whether you are listening to this the day it drops, the last day of 2018, or you are in the year 2019 listening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Maybe you're going into 2020. So happy New Year to you.
Thanks for discovering us.
Yeah, any New Year.
And any New Year. Centuries from now, when they're still listening to the Dead Padawan Society for our culture. We're like Bill and Ted. I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to be the Bill and Ted of our age.
Right. Now we just have to figure out that song that's going to save the universe.
Exactly. So It's been a pleasure being with you. Remember, you can reach out to us at deadpadawanssociety@gmail.com, or like us on Facebook, comment on YouTube right now. Even in the new year, one of the big things that we want to do is get this on some other podcasting platforms. So we're looking forward to that as well and interacting with you in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow us on Instagram. Talk with us anywhere you want, and we'll be throwing up some polls and
from
fun
this episode.
stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of good content from this. So thank you so much for joining us. Live long and prosper.
And may the force be with you.